It's your girl, Carla Renata, aka the Curvy Film Critic. If this is your first time joining me, please give me a big old thumbs up to let me know you were here. If you are on YouTube, click that bell for notifications and subscribe to the channel because you never know who you might see here. Like today, I got Michael Keaton, so there's that. And usually what I do here is I review films and I sometimes talk to people above and below the line in the film industry. So there's that. But I usually tell y'all about my week and how it went and everything. But before I do that, let me just say hey to my boy, Brandon. He's always in the house and he's funny. He's like, yeah, let's do this. Yeah, that's right, Brandon. Let's do this. So I haven't been live for a while because people watch it after the fact anyway. So, there's that. But let me tell you how my week went. First of all, Friday was Friday the 13th, and I had forgotten all about that. My internet went out for about 48, maybe 72 hours because apparently there were some really bad storms in the Southern California area and some wire or something was cut. So the AT&T people, that's who my carrier is, the AT&T people had to figure it out and fix it. So I had no internet for about 48, almost 72 hours, probably longer than that. Like it went out like sometime I think it was sometime in the middle of the night on Wednesday, and it didn't get restored until late afternoon yesterday. So I was really annoyed by that. I cannot even begin to tell you how annoyed I was by that, but good things happened in the week like this. So IGN.com has contracted me to do some reviews. I'm doing them for Respect, which is already up on the IGN.com site, and I'll be doing it for Reminisce. The review for Reminisce will be up on August 18th, the day after the premiere, and that's the film that stars Hugh Jackman. So for those reasons, I cannot talk about the films here. I cannot review the films here because it would be a conflict of interest for another entity. However, what I will do is do a short little retrospective or give you some news about a retrospective that's being done on Aretha Franklin later on in the show. And I can tell you this, Respect has gotten mixed reviews and it's not unwarranted. So that's all I'll say about that. And then in accordance or in conjunction with Respect, I will have the composer, Chris Bowers. Now, Chris Bowers is a beast. He scored When They See Us. He scored everything. I cannot wait to talk to him because he's really, really wonderful. And Kenneth, not Kenneth, Orlando. You're like, Hollywood made enough Friday the 13th movies, girl. You should have been on Red Alert. What you talking about Friday the 13th? Friday. Yeah, I don't watch them movies, Friday the 13th movies. I don't like horror movies, but I did see one this week, but it was kind of comical. But I'll talk about that in a little bit. But you're right. I should have been on alert. And had I been watching them Friday the 13th movies, I would have been on alert. But there's that. But before we get into the interviews that I have with Martin Campbell and Michael Keaton and Maggie Q from the Protege, let's take a little trip around the curve. Take a trip around the curve. Debbie Allen is set to receive the Governor's Award at this year's Primetime Emmys on September 19th. Kerry Washington is set to star in and produce Rockaway for Netflix, and Lin-Manuel Miranda's featured directorial debut, Tick, Tick, Boom, opens the AFI Fest on November 10th. Prentice Penny signs an overall deal with Disney's Onyx Collective. EGOT winner Rita Moreno has been cast in a starring role in the feature film The Prank, to be directed by Maureen Barasha. Filming begins this month in and around Los Angeles. Jalen Hall has been cast as Emmett Till in Chinoya Chukwu's film Till, and Married with Children star Christina Applegate revealed she has been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Our thoughts and prayers are with her and her family. Apple Original Films and A24's feature Sharper has added Brianna Middleton as one of the four leads. Benedict Cumberbatch and Jessica Chastain are receiving the TIFF Tribute Award at the 46th edition of the Toronto Festival. Robert Rodriguez inks a first-look deal with HBO Max and HBO, and Minnie Driver joins Kelvin Harrison Jr., Samara Weaving, and Lucy Boynton in the Searchlight Pictures biopic Chevalier. Funny Girl is officially returning to Broadway, and our new Fanny Bryce is Book Smart star Beanie Feldstein. Lil Rel and Josh Brenner headline Bromates a comedy executive produced by Snoop Dogg, and 6-time Emmy Award nominee Titus Burgess will be scheming and dancing his way to Easy Street in the scene-stealing role of Rooster in NBC's production of Annie Live. Power creator Courtney Kemp signs an overall deal with Netflix. Shang-Chi star Simu Liu hit back on Disney CEO Bob Chapek's comment, calling the upcoming Marvel feature an interesting experiment. We are not an experiment. We are the underdog, the underestimated. We are the ceiling breakers. We are the celebration of culture and joy that will persevere after an embattled year. We are the surprise. Apple, in advanced talks, wins a big auction for Jennifer Lawrence to play Sue Mangers in a biopic package. CNN will launch its streaming service CNN Plus in 2022. An Academy Award nominated Sam Elliott, country star Tim McGraw, and Faith Hill star in Yellowstone prequel 1883 for Paramount Plus. Universal and Peacock closed a $400 million deal for an Exorcist trilogy starring Ellen Burstyn reprising her classic role. In 2022, Disney Animation Studios is opening a new facility in Vancouver. The first in the pipeline is the anticipated feature-quality musical series Moana. David Rubin has been re-elected to his third and final term as president of AMPAS, with Devin Franklin as VP. Gaslight, the Watergate TV series for Starz, is continuing to shoot despite Sean Penn's refusal to return to work until every single crew member is vaccinated. Nicholas Hoult is on board to star in Universal Pictures' Renfield, a monster movie centered on Dracula's familiar henchman. Tiana Taylor is set to star in A.V. Rockwell's feature debut 1001. Production is underway in New York City. Precious and Bessie star Monique is developing a range of unscripted projects after striking a deal with Endemol Shine North America. The estate of James Brown has finally been settled, which has been in dispute since the star's death in 2006. Lionsgate is paying north of $1 million and under $2 million for Black Collar, produced by Kenya Barris. Delroy Lindo will star in Amazon's upcoming limited series adaptation of Neil Gaiman's Anansi Boys. Netflix snags Will Smith and David Leitch action film Fast and Loose from STX Films. Marcus Gately, the screenwriter behind the upcoming Marvin Gaye biopic What's Going On, has struck an overall TV deal with Amazon Studios. Bridgerton breakout Regé-Jean Page is set to star in the Saint reboot at Paramount Pictures. Willie Nelson and family, Tom Zinni and Oren Moverman, are set to direct the docuseries. A24 lends the rights to Octavia E. Butler's Parable of the Sower, setting time director Garrett Bretley to helm, and Sonia Winton, Ottoman, and Jonathan I. Kidd score HBO pilot order for another series adaptation of Octavia Butler's Fledging. Issa Rae and J.J. Abrams are set to be the executive producers. Trevor Noah is set to produce a political documentary series, The Tipping Point. Judy Greer will star as Mrs. G in the Nicholas Ma-directed feature Mabel. The Indie Spirit Awards has a big shakeup. The 2022 ceremony moves from Oscar weekend and is aiming to broaden its audience and influence. Merritt Weaver joins the indie feature Midday Black, Midnight Blue. The Black Panther Wakanda Forever cast has added Michaela Cole for the Marvel sequel, and Mary Tyler Moore has a documentary in the works from Lena Waithe's production company Hillman Grad and Endeavor Content. Madonna's documentary Madam X is set to debut on Paramount Plus this fall, and House Party's Jacob Lattimore is co-starring in the reboot of the 90s comedy from New Line and the Spring Hill Company. Tiffany Haddish and Oscar nominee Lakeith Stanfield are in talks to star in Disney's Haunted Mansion, a movie based on the theme park ride. And on this week's Curvy Critic with Carla Nada, we are reviewing Don't Breathe 2, The Night House with Rebecca Hall, Sean Penn and Dylan Penn in Flag Day. And your girl has interviews with Michael Keaton, Maggie Q, and the director for Protegé, Martin Campbell. See you at 5 p.m. at the Curvy Critic with Carla Renata. I know that was a lot, but we had a lot of news. I hadn't done the Curvy Critic, I think, since mid-July because I had so many interviews that it was taking up a lot of time. So I hope you enjoyed that. Hope you're brought all up to speed on the news. And yes, Brandon, I hear Paw Patrol is a lot of fun. And I know that you're going to have a good time when you go to see it this Friday, as well as The Loud House on Netflix. I will get to those next week. And like I said, I wasn't able to get to them this week because I had no internet, so I couldn't stream or watch anything. All right, so let's get right into this interview with the director of the Protege, Martin Campbell, and I'll review it when we come back. It's my jam. It's totally my jam, the spy thriller action thing. But what I'm most curious about is when you have those big fight scenes, like that seduction fight scene that happens between Maggie and Michael. how long does it take you to choreograph and shoot something like that? Because it takes a matter of minutes to watch, but I'm just curious to know how long it takes to pull that off in those angles, all those different angles that you have to shoot from. If you wouldn't mind addressing that for me, I'd really appreciate it.
I think the whole of that location, you know, with Michael coming in, she's in the bath, all that, including that action scene, I think it was 3 days, maybe 4, I can't remember. 3 days, maybe 4 days. I mean, you have to work very hard on those action scenes to, you know, you're up against time, but nevertheless, you know, I had a very good stunt arranger. And you're quite right, that whole action scene is designed really as foreplay, if you see what I mean. So
yes, I loved that, the fighting foreplay situation. I loved that.
Yeah, so that was certainly what we wanted to achieve.
Yes. And I noticed from looking at your accomplishments, I don't want to say resume because that's so trite, but your accomplishments over the years, that you seem to be drawn to these spy, action, thriller, adventure types of films. Green Lantern, you've done a couple of Bond films. What is it that keeps bringing you back to this particular genre?
Well, because I just enjoy watching those sort of films. You know, I've always been an enthusiast for thrillers. I love the kind of adventure, the kind of action genre, if you see what I mean. It's just personally, I like those sort of films. You know, I enjoy watching them.
And what was it about Maggie Q and Michael that made you bring them into this film? Because their chemistry is bananas.
Yeah, the first thing, Maggie was, believe it or not, I saw her with Ethan Hawke playing, I think it was a love story. And she was so good. Her acting was so good. I had no idea about her background. I didn't even know that she had done La Femme Nikita. And so I cast her on the spot. I thought she was, you know, really good in that. And then to the fact she can do all the action was a huge bonus, basically. And Michael speaks for himself. Terrific actor, interesting actor. You can watch Michael Keaton in anything. He's hugely entertaining, brilliant actor, and he's also slightly left field. You know, you never quite know what you're going to get in terms of, but he's wonderful. He's a gem, really.
Yeah, you're right. You never know what you're going to get from him. And I think that probably is because he has a comedy background. So yeah. I think he kind of uses that comedy background to kind of keep you off kilter just a little bit, which works.
Yeah, you're slightly off balance with him, you know, all the time, as she is, you know, in the movie. I mean, it becomes a battle of the, you know, a competitive battle between them both. But very much, you know, he sort of left foots her in that scene in the bookshop, which is rather well written, I think.
Oh, that scene in the bookshop was, how long did it take to shoot that? Because that's a different kind of thing, because you've got stuff exploding, stuff crashing.
Oh, God, yes, all sorts of rubbish going on there. I can't remember, but that dialogue scene, I think, was done in a day. I knocked that off in a day. Very early on, I think in the first week, you know, we did that. And it took me a day and a half to blow the hell out of the place, you know, to do that. So, and there are other little scenes in the bookshop as well, very small, you know, when Maggie first comes into it and so forth. But it's probably 3 or 4 days. I'm a little hazy about how long.
Oh, I'm sure, because it's probably been a minute since you shot this before now, right? Because COVID kind of like, you know, put a wrench in everything, kind of.
Well, we managed to get. We shot the whole movie in Romania, believe it or not, and the COVID was literally just coming on top of us by the end of shooting in Romania, and we had to run. Basically, there were. I think we shot on a Saturday night. On Sunday, they closed the country, so we all raced. We finished a night shoot and then raced for our bags at the hotel, grabbed them, and ran for the airport. Just got out by the skin of our teeth.
You literally were running for your lives. Well, I want people to run and see the Protege. It has been my honor to speak with you. I'm such a huge fan of yours. Thank you so much for your time today. I appreciated our conversation.
Thanks very much indeed. I enjoyed it.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I really did love talking to Martin because he's done a lot of spy adventure action films. So I was very familiar with his work before I spoke to him. So thank you again, Martin. All right, so let's talk about The Protege. The Protege, of course, is directed by Martin Campbell. It is produced by Lionsgate Pictures, and it will be released on August 20th, as a lot of the films are that I will be speaking of today. It stars Maggie Q, Samuel L. Jackson, and Michael Keaton. The story is Maggie's character, Anna, is rescued as a child by Moody, who was a legendary assassin played by Samuel L. Jackson. And he finds her and he trains her in the quote unquote family business as an assassin. But when he's brutally murdered, she wants to get revenge because, you know, now they've taken somebody that she loves, and she becomes entangled with Michael Keaton, who's also a killer, and their attraction goes way beyond the whole cat and mouse situation, and their confrontation has some consequences that I can't tell you about, because then I'll be blowing the film for you. And there's some loose ends that need to be weaved up and tightened up as we go along. The action scenes in this film are insane. There's one in an air duct that Maggie and I speak of during our interview. And then there's another scene between Keaton and Maggie Q that we speak about. So I'll let those interviews speak to those issues. What I do love about The Protege is that Maggie Q has been in a lot of films, a lot of projects, including La Film Nikita. And this film showcases everything that is awesome and fabulous about her, all her abilities rolled up into one. This is her film. It is a spy thriller action adventure film. It is released on August 20th by Lionsgate Pictures. And having said that, let's roll right into the interview with my girl, Maggie Q from The Protege.
Can I just tell you something really funny? You look like an angel, but you also have a pillow behind you that makes it look like you have wings on. So.
Aww, thank you. I kind of love you for that. Girl, I kind of love you for that. But now I'm about to give you some accolades too, because you're giving me Annie Oakley in leather in The Protege. I'm like, get it, girl. I'm like, get it.
Thank you.
Yes, I love you in this film. I love you so much. And I know in other films, you haven't had this much shine on you. Like, you are the person for The Protege, and I am there for all of it.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Let's talk about that air duct scene. How difficult was that for you to shoot? The one where you're in the air duct and they're shooting up at you?
Can I just tell you that so far the women have brought up things that no one else brings up. Like, this is the first time anybody's ever talked about that. And funnily enough, I really kind of got hurt in that scene because I was getting, there was some pyrotechnics that were blowing up a little too close to me. So that scene actually is not like a huge action thing, but it was actually the thing that hurt me the most in the film.
Oh no, I hope you didn't get hurt too bad.
Not too bad. I mean, I had some like burns and welts and things like that, but you know, and in the moment they're really painful. But how funny that you pointed that out. You're like, what? It was really hard to do because everything was coming through the ceiling.
Right, exactly. And you were crawling and you're a tall doll. So it's
and then it's sort of, it was narrow like this. I mean, it was less than a foot. It was really narrow. So I had to just not fall off.
Ooh, girl, I kudos and snaps and claps, because you did that. You did that all day long. And I also want to talk to you about the scene with you and Michael, where I forget which one of y'all goes crashing through that glass coffee table. I think it might be him.
It was both of us.
It was both of you.
Yeah.
But how difficult is it for you to train for a scene like that? Because it's a lot going on, and I know they shoot it in chunks, and I know that it takes multiple days to shoot.
Oh, it does. Yes. God, you're so well informed. I love it. Multiple days for that fight. It was a really big one. And, you know, we just have to take it step by step, day by day, like what's in front of you, right? And like you said, we shoot in chunks, and those chunks are absolutely exhausting. And one of the hardest things about fights is because they take so long, you have to keep your energy level it has to match, right? You have to be at the same intensity that you were 2 days ago when you shot the beginning of it than you are 2 days later at the end of it. And you have to be really mindful of all of those things. And I think that's what makes it so tough.
girl, it was hella entertaining. And
Okay,
it was hella entertaining, as was the scene with y'all at the dinner table. I call it the dinner foreplay seduction scene.
Yes, it really was. Yes.
How much fun did you have doing that with Michael Keaton? Because let's just talk about Mike. He's sexy now.
Sexy, right? Thank you. I think, you know what's so nice is that I love that, like, we have a movie with a woman in a role who's like in her 40s. We have all the men in the film that are older men bringing what they bringing their game, bringing their sex appeal and all that sort of stuff. And all that's gotten really lost in this like younger led, generation industry, whatnot. And I love that we've brought it back to like, oh, I'm sorry, sexy older man with extreme intelligence who knows exactly what he's saying and doing, because that's what we want. And so there's no question why she's attracted to that. I mean, this is someone who's sure-footed. There's nothing more attractive than that. I mean, for me personally as well.
Absolutely. Well, that is my time, my fellow Hawaiian. I lived in Kailua for a really long time. So in closing, yes, I did. My brother was born there.
Okay, Island. Okay, Island.
Okay, Island. So in closing, I would just say mahalo.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Mahalo back to you. Lots of love.
Bye. Okay, don't you just kind of love her? I kind of love her. So before I get into this last interview with Michael Keaton, let me just tell you about this Aretha Franklin retrospective that's happening. So all of the record companies that Aretha Franklin has recorded for are showing her, no pun intended, RESPECT. Okay, that's part. Anyway, it's going to be a new career spanning retrospective simply titled Aretha. It was released, mind you, November 20th of last year, and it features 81 remastered tracks, 19 which have never been released. They include alternate renditions of some of her classic hits, plus demos, rarities, and live performances. It's compiled in a 4 CD box set. The collection also features 10 tracks from Aretha from 1960 to 1966, her tenure at Columbia Records, where she was produced by James Hammond and recorded such classics as Skylark, along with a new song penned by Curtis Stewart called Today I Sing the Blues, and Ashford and Simpson's Cry Like a Baby. Because what people don't know is that her career, when she started out as a vocalist, it wasn't as a gospel R&B artist. She singing classics, from that era. And it also features some alternate takes of Chain of Fools, Rocksteady, Spanish Harlem, another version of Thing from the Blues Brothers film. There's an 2014 cover of Rolling in the Deep, which is also featured. And it's let me see. It says the Rolling in the Deep version recorded via her own RCA distributed print, Aretha Records, packed at number 1 on the U.S. dance chart, marking the diva's final chart-topping single before her death, August 16, 2018. So that is my brief but short information regarding Aretha Franklin and some retrospective information regarding her music and her legacy and her career. So now that I've said that, let's get into this last interview with Michael Keaton from the Protege. And we're going to talk about that scene that I just talked to Martin and Maggie about. But before we get into that, I have a little conversation with him about Rembrandts. Here we go. Michael Keaton from the Protege. Your character's name is Rembrandt, and this is such a random question, but I'm just curious to know, have you ever thought about owning a Rembrandt?
No, not that particular artist. No, I haven't, to be honest with you. But now that you got me thinking about it, I'm gonna ask you to buy me one if you don't mind.
You gonna ask me to buy you one?
Yeah, you mind?
No, I think that needs to be the other way around. I think I need to be asking you to buy me one. You got way more cash than I got, brother.
All right.
Oh, okay. All right. When I start going, excuse me.
That's right. You say, I got it on tape.
I got it on tape, Michael Keaton. That you said you was gonna buy me a Rembrandt. What? Okay, listen. I love you playing a villain. You are so yummy as a villain. And I remember back in the day when you were doing more comedic stuff. And I feel like your comedic sensibility adds a little edge to your villainous type of characters because you never quite know what the character is going to do. It kind of keeps you on the edge of your seat. And I'm just wondering, is having coming from that comedic side, what is it that keeps bringing you to these dark kind of characters? Because I've seen you do it in American Assassin. I loved when you were in Pacific Heights. That was one of my favorite ones. And
Yeah.
you're doing it. You're not really a villain in this one. You're kind of like on the fence with this one, with the Protege. But I just wondered what it is that keeps bringing you back to those types of roles.
You know, truthfully, and you're right, that's very observant. Because he's pretty funny, you know, and the script had some really, I thought, witty moments in it, you know, for movies in this genre. What keeps me bringing, I get the offer, and if it's pretty good or something I haven't played before, because I haven't exactly played someone like this guy, and I was intrigued to see if I could pull that off. And as you said, it had some, or maybe I said, had some kind of funny moments in it. And I think it's what I get, once I was offered Pacific Heights, I think a long time ago, I think people started going, oh, wait a minute, maybe there's a whole other thing here to offer him. So it's just a question of what comes along, what's good at the time, does it fit the time? But I really miss, and I'm developing some comedies now, but I miss it a lot. I miss being around all the funny people. I haven't really done a comedy since The Other Guys, you know, with Adam McKay.
I love you in both. I really do. But I do kind of like this new lane for you. It's very yummy, like I said. How much did you enjoy doing that seductive dinner scene where you guys have the gun pointed at each other's, you know, stuff?
Go ahead. I'm going to let you say it. Go ahead. I'm going to sit here and let you
Stop.
That's a fun scene. That's a really fun scene. You know, to pull that off in this kind of genre, it can be too cheesy. And I thought the way Martin shot it, the director, and I thought the way it was written was really good. And then, you know, the next thing you know, it's hot and heavy, either in terms of the action, or there's that underlying sexual tension between the two of them, which is cool.
Yeah, you guys' chemistry is bananas. It was bananas. And what I really love, though, is that your character kind of let her outsmart him a little bit, because Rembrandt is smart, but Anna seems to she's always one step ahead of him somehow. And I don't think he seems to mind that. Do you think that would be an accurate representation of that relationship? Yeah,
in fact, I think it's attractive, you know, to him. You know, brains and smart's sexy, you know, it's attractive, right? And, you know, smart's a relative thing. You know, there's street smart and there's emotional smart, and there's just, you know, there's all kinds of different levels of smart or intelligence. But for sure, yeah, he dug it. You know, he thought it was cool that she, you know, he probably gets bored, and then all of a sudden he's got someone challenging him, and he enjoyed it.
Well, I dig you, and I dug you in the Protege. Thank you so much for your time, Michael Keaton.
Thank
and
you.
I'm going to be looking for that Rembrandt brother. I'm just saying.
All right, give me your address. I'll have it shipped.
All right. Bye. He know good and well he is not going to ship me no Rembrandt. And if he does, no one will be more shocked and surprised, elated, and excited than I am. So I want to thank Maggie Q, Michael Keaton, and Martin Campbell from The Protege. It hits theaters this week on August 20th, and it is produced by Lionsgate Studios. All right, so The Night House is a film that stars Rebecca Hall and is directed by David Bruckner. I love Rebecca Hall. She had a film at Sundance called Passing that's coming out soon, and I can't wait for y'all to see that, and I'll talk about that then. But this is another film that's going to be released on August 20th by Searchlight Pictures. It's about a widow who begins to uncover, after her husband has passed away, some disturbing secrets that he has. And that's all I can really say about it without telling you about the film. But what I will say about it is that this film is It'll make you jump a couple of times. I jumped and gasped a couple of times. It is like a tour de force acting performance for Rebecca Hall. It like gives her the perfect showcase to show everything that she does. And it's very reminiscent to me of like, it was like if the Invisible Man is beneath what Michelle Pfeiffer had a baby, it would be The Night House. That's the best way to describe it. So again, it will be in theaters on August 20th. Flag Day stars Sean Penn. It's directed by Sean Penn, and it also stars his daughter, Dylan Penn. And it is produced by MGM, excuse me, Braun Studios. And there's a brief little cameo with Regina King in the movie, and another actor that you'll recognize from Ray Donovan. But this is basically the story of a father who's living a double life as a counterfeiter, a bank robber, a con man, in order to provide for his daughter. He is somebody that was in the military, so it speaks to that ideology and that PTSD that people that have been in the military deal with, and that they can never quite regain the respect and the dignity that they had in whatever branch of the service they were in. It's a father and daughter story. And, you know, there's always these adages about the strong ties between a father and a daughter and the ties between a son and the mother. I personally had a moment where I was watching this film and I burst into tears because my father was in the Marine Corps. And my father has and had very grandiose dreams and ideas, just like the character in the film does. And it was so parallel to my real life in a lot of different ways that it touched me to my core. So for that reason, I strongly resonated with Flag Day. It was heartbreaking. In Sean Penn's performance in it and working with his daughter, their scenes are magical because I didn't know that Dylan was his daughter going into the film. So I didn't have that preconceived notion floating around in my head before I watched the movie. And I was pleasantly surprised and entertained. The ending is going to make your jaw drop to your crack. And of course, I cannot tell you what it is, but it hits theaters again on August 20th. It's produced by MGM Braun Studios and directed and starring Sean Penn along with his daughter, Dylan Penn. Whirlybird is a documentary that I saw during a film festival last year. It is a documentary that's directed by Matt Yoka. It's been out and about, produced by Greenwich Entertainment since August 6th, but I'm just now getting around to it, so sorry about that. It deals with this guy named Bob Tur, who is now trans and goes by the name of Zoe Tur. And it deals with him in a news helicopter, him and his ex-wife, Marika Gerard, how they were able to cover some of Los Angeles's most dramatic events, presented with stunning aerial footage that they shot themselves, home videos, and it reframes many of LA's pivotal moments, including the LA riots and the O.J. Simpson pursuit. It was Bob/Zoe's footage that you saw on television of O.J. Simpson in the back of that Ford Bronco. That was his footage that you saw. They started a news service here, and up until that time, nobody was doing that. It's a really interesting look at how people can get addicted to covering the news and how after a while, it just eventually takes a toll on you. And in addition to that, he was dealing with demons of feeling like he was born in the wrong body. So it's a very interesting story, and you'll really be educated and entertained by it. Again, it is out in theaters since August 6th, produced by Greenwich Entertainment and directed by Matt Yoka. Don't Breathe 2 opened on theaters this past Friday. It's produced by Screen Gems. It's directed by Rodo Sayagues, and it's written by Sayagues and Fede Alvarez. It's a sequel to Don't Breathe. So for years, this guy named Norman Nordstrom, played by Stephen Lang. You guys remember him from Avatar and a bunch of other stuff. He's been hiding out in this isolated cabin, and he's taken in and raised this young girl played by Madeline Grace, who's orphaned from a house fire. Her family home went up in flames, and he found her in the street and saved her. They've been living out in this quiet existence in this isolated area, basically sequestered from society until a group of kidnappers decides that they're going to show up, take the girl, and force Norman to leave his safe house in order to save her. There's a whole bunch of different circumstances that go into that. I don't want to tell you what it is, because if I do, then you may not see the film. But oh my God, this film, I'm not big on I like thrillers. I'm not big on horror movies. This was kind of like a horror thriller, but it was comedic at best. It was really silly and it was predictable, but the acting in it was really, really great. Like, there were some great actors in this film, but the premise was so silly. It was so silly that the audience that I watched it with was laughing throughout most of the film. And I am so sorry to the writers and the directors for that, because I'm sure that that is not the reaction they intended to get. I'm not quite sure that we needed this sequel for Don't Breathe 2. I mean, I don't think we needed a sequel for Don't Breathe. I didn't see the first one, but I saw this one and I was laughing. Now, if I'm laughing, that's saying something. Just saying. All right, so that's it for the films. Let me just recap them real quick. We've got Don't Breathe 2, which opened this past Friday on August 13th. Whirly Bird has been in theaters since August 6th. On August 20th, we got Flag Day opening. We got Reminisce opening, which I'll have my review up on August 18th for that one on IGN.com. We've got The Protege, which opens on August 20th. And Respect is currently up and running now. It opened on Friday. My review for Respect is up on IGN.com. You can read my respective review and Reminisce at IGN.com. They will not be at the CurvyFilmCritic.com, and I will not be talking about them here on the Curvy Critic with Carla Renata. But hold up, wait a minute. Next week, I will have Chris Bowers, who is the composer for the Respect movie at MGM Braun. I will also have the director and writer of Reminisce, Miss Lisa Joy. I'll be doing reviews of Crypto Zoo, Shang-Chi, Paw Patrol, No Man of God, 911, One Day in America. I'll have all of that for you next week. And I'll finally get around to Paw Patrol for my boy Brandon, because I know he loves his animated joints. And he said he watched What If on Disney Plus and loved it and can't wait for more Black Panther, for more Black Panther as Star-Lord. I can't read today. What's wrong with me? But anyway, again, if this is your first time joining me, I am Carla Renata, the Curvy Film Critic. You have been watching the Curvy Film Critic with Carla Renata on YouTube, streaming live here on LinkedIn and Facebook Live on the Curvy Critic page over there. If this is your first time joining me, please give me a big thumbs up to let me know that you were here. Subscribe to the channel, and I will see y'all next week. So take it light, and love, peace, and hair grease. Deuces.